is Sean Allen. We're gonna get started today. What I'm doing is I'm taking the number 2 and I'm going straight back against the grain. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm searching for how his growth pattern is, and I'm not trying to cut too low because I want his hair to still have that dark look. I want him to start growing his waves, so that's why I'm cutting it a certain way. I always say get a higher guard than what you're going to cut with, so at least you have a guideline and knowing exactly what you need to do. Because if you cut too low already, then the haircut is not going to look right. Now I got my masters with a 1.5 and I'm going with the grain, but what I'm doing is I'm actually picking out the dark spots. I'm not cutting every single piece of the hair, even though it looks like I am. I'm cutting the parts that I don't need. I call it the blending technique. Now I'm using my Walls magic clips with a number 1 guard. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at all these dark spots in his head and I'm just laying it down a little bit lower. So first I used a 1.5 master. You can use any clipper with a number 1.5. But what I did was I used a number 1 after the 1.5 just to have that blend. Now what I'm doing right now is cutting the line area. That's what I call it, the line area, because I'm setting the line up. Lineups just don't happen. You have to literally set it up. Now that's my wide blade. Now I'm going a little bit lower. See, I got a little closer so you can see it, and you can see the hair actually laying down on the edges. Now my wide blade is equivalent to a number 1 and a 000, so I can have more flexibility and be able to be adjustable. That's what I'm trying to say. It can be adjustable, and that causes you to have more control and give you a better haircut. That's a tip. So as you can see, I'm taking that wide blade, but I'm actually cutting a certain way to get all the hairs that I don't need out of the way. I call it the straggly hairs. And now it's time for the TEMP fade. Now what I did, I took my Slimline Pro Li and I started with the first guideline. He wanted me to line his mustache up real quick. Now it's lineup time. See, I start off with balling out the side, then I go off and do the lineup so I can kind of know my guideline in all areas. So what I'm doing is, y'all saw me use that wide blade earlier. Now you see that it's looking good. I don't have to do that much work on the lineup. Now it's time for the C effect. Now I take the tip of my liners and I flick it. Of course you brush down and then you flick it some more so you can see exactly what you need to do. Don't try to rush it too much. Now I'm going around the air. See, everything is easy for me to line up because I set it up. Now it's back to the TEMP fade. Now what I did was I took Slimline Pro, then I took my magic clip and I went up just a little bit more, under a 1/2 inch, and I'm flicking it out. But what I'm doing is taking that first demarcation line out. Even the beard part, see, I'm blending that little line out too. So I'm going both ways. I went back up. I'm still on that first demarcation line. I'm flicking it. Now I got my number 1 and I went up a little bit more. Maybe about a 1/2 inch. but I'm still watching where I line up at. I'm not just cutting anywhere. You have to cut with a purpose. And as you can see, his hair got little spaces in it, so you have to be careful. Now I use my wide blade, which is equivalent to a 000. So I hit it with a number 1 and I went back down with the wide blade, which is a 000. And I like using my wide blade because I have more flexibility. And what I'm doing is I'm taking them light spots out. I'm using them corners. I'm flicking it, see, right there. Now you see me just adjust it again. And now I'm looking at it. Now I gotta get that little dark spot right there out. Now I took my master, which is a 1.5, and I'm working on the last demarcation line. And I'm flicking that out. And it didn't take it fully out, so I went back down to a number 1 on that same line, and I'm just keep on blending, keep on flicking them dark spots. See, I'm just working it. Now I brushed it back down so I can see exactly what I need to do. Now I took that wide blade just to flick them little dark spots. Like I said, he have little spaces in his hair, and it's our job as barbers to just get rid of all them little dark spots and be able to just blend everything. Because your goal is, no matter how much the hair is, no matter how the hair texture is, you have to give a good cut. So what I'm doing is I'm laying down that other line because I see that dark spot right there. So like in my head, I'm thinking, okay, let me lay it down real quick. Let me use the wide blade. Now I'm probably gonna go back to a 1.5 in a little bit. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just hit that line up one more time before I get back to that line, get back to the temp fade, so I can see what I'm working with. Now I'm using some hair fibers, using the spritz so it can hold. Now I'm about to blow dry it and then line them up, and then I'll be finished. I'm not dragging it down on his skin to give him a cut, but I'm swiping left to right. And as you can see, I'm being careful to make sure I'm not rushing the job. Just recutting it, relining it up, making sure everything is crispy. Hit them with that oil sheen, and voila! Look at that. That's clean. That's super clean. Once again, this is Sean Allen Cuts signing out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We out. Peace.